is the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening, I am Tammy Reed in with your VON Major News package for today, Monday, 3rd December 2018. In our lead stories, nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis averaging 14 new HIV infections per year for the past 3 years, and a budget day on Nevis set for December 5th. Regionally, former minister to reappear in court on fraud charges. Internationally, George H.W. Bush to lie in state in the U.S. Capitol. And in sports, Chris Gayle awarded £173,000 in damages in defamation case. We'll have the details to these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, VON.
Welcome back, and now the national news in detail. As of October 31st, 2018, there were some 295 persons living with HIV in St. Kitts and Nevis. This was revealed by Minister of State with Responsibility for Health, Honorable Wendy Phipps, in an address to mark World AIDS Day, which was observed on Saturday, December 1st, 2018. According to Minister Phipps, of this number, 35 have experienced viral load suppression. Viral load suppression is when antiretroviral therapy ART reduces a person's viral load HIV RNA to an undetectable level. Viral suppression does not mean a person is cured. HIV still remains in the body. Statistics provided indicate that over the years 2016, 2017, and up to October 31st, 2018, a total of 41 new infections occurred, which means that the Federation is averaging about 40 new infections per year. Most of the new HIV infections occur among men. From 2016 to October 31st, 2018, 71% of new infections were in the male population segment. The number of new cases increased in 2018. About 46% of the new cases of HIV occurred in the 20 to 29-year-old demographic. As of October 31st, 2018, approximately 82 persons, or 28%, of who are HIV positive were receiving antiretroviral therapy. Between 2016 to October 31st, 2018, a total of 17 HIV-related deaths have been documented. This reflects an average of 6 deaths per year. For the year 2018, a total of 1,347 rapid HIV tests were done up to October 31st, 2018. This is a significant drop in testing, as there were 2,203 rapid tests done in 2017. Budget Day for the Nevis Island Administration will be held on Wednesday, December 5, 2018 at the Nevis Island Assembly Chambers at 10 a.m. Premier of Nevis and Minister of Finance in the Nevis Island Administration, NIA, the Honorable Mark Brantley, will table the draft estimates 2019 and will also seek to introduce and have read a first and second time the Nevis Appropriation 2019 Ordinance 2018. The bill will seek to appropriate a sum of money for use of the public service of the island of Nevis for the financial year commencing on January 1st, 2019 and ends on December 31st, 2019. Based on the order paper, when the sitting begins, there will be the formal entry by President of the Assembly, the Honorable Farrell Smithen, followed by prayers. A motion for the approval of the order paper as circulated. messages from the Deputy Governor General for Nevis, Her Honor Mrs. Hailita Liebert, an announcement by the President will be made before the draft estimates 2019 is tabled. The address will be delivered by Minister Brantley for the second time in his capacity as Premier since he was sworn into that position in December 2017. The 2018 budget address was presented on February 12, 2018, to the tune of $227,324,250 EC dollars. The proceedings will be carried live here on Von Radio. 7 females are among the 16 Calypsonians who have progressed to the semi-finals of the 2018-2019 Senior Calypso Monarch competition. 45 Calypsonians took part in 2 nights of eliminations on December 1st and 2nd at Carnival Village. On night 1, 7 of the Calypsonians did not perform, among them Big Lies, Queenie G and Calypso Craig. A former monarch performed a small part of his song before bowing out. The 16 chosen are Queen Kibby, Brown Sugar, Charis D, Genesis, Little Miss, Godfrey, Singing Jackie, Navigator, Queen Diva, Unexpected, Hollywood, Singing Sharon, Lord Cut, Glenroy Blanchett, Lord Payne, and Lady B. Jack Spanner is the alternate. The Calypso semi-finals is slated for December 16th at the same venue, where 7 performers will progress to the finals, where they will come up against reigning monarch Queen Miss Independent on December 29th. A low number of entries for the Sugar Mass 47 Soca Monarch elimination has forced organizers to cancel the event. The event, which was scheduled for Friday evening, was cancelled as only a handful of artists entered the competition this year. The event was scheduled to be conducted live via television and radio, with the judges scoring from songs submitted by track. Artists were notified via WhatsApp chat group Friday morning that the Carnival Committee was foregoing the eliminations due to the low number of entries, and they would be informed of the names of the semi-finalists by Friday evening. Last year, 27 performers performed for the elimination round and 18 progressed to the semi-finals. 12 were selected to compete against then Kings, Lax and KT, and Rockers HE in the finals. In 2016, there were 29 groovy and 17 power entries. 18 groovy and 15 power artists progressed to the semi-finals. Reports are that this year there were only 14 registered artists. 10 contestants have been confirmed for this year's 39th edition of the Haynes Smith Miss Caribbean Talented Teen International Pageant, scheduled for Sunday, December 30th. As part of the thrust to build the international image and profile of the event will be held at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort for the second time. Chairperson of the Haynes Smith Miss Caribbean Talented Teen International Committee and one of the founding members, Mr. Lawson Archibald, stated that plans are already underway to build on the successes of last year's event. According to President of the Haynes Smith Miss Caribbean Talented Teen Organization and producer of the show, Mr. Antonio Maynard, tickets this year will be available at $75 EC dollars. Plans by a Venezuelan and Ecuadorian-based multi-state funded Latin American television and multimedia network Telesur to have their channel included in the television packages offered in the Federation were part of the discussions between a delegation from the network and Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris. The discussions took place on Wednesday, 28 November 2018. The Telesur delegation was led by President of Telesur, Mrs. Patricia Villegas, who was accompanied by the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Mr. Wally Carsi. President of Telesur, Mrs. Patricia Villegas, emphasized that Telesur, which commenced operations 13 years ago, was originally a Spanish-speaking television network, but noting the imbalance in news reported by the traditional international media networks, the company launched its English network in late 2018. It further stressed that TeleSur can be used as an excellent platform to promote culture, tourism, and exchange of information across Latin America and the Caribbean. The Prime Minister was accompanied at this meeting by Cabinet Secretary Mrs. Josephine Huggins, Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Mr. Andrew Skerritt, and Foreign Service Officer Mrs. Sonia Body Thompson. The visiting delegation also conducted meetings with representatives from Flow and the Cable during their one-day visit to the Federation. Sexual and domestic violence crimes in the Federation now have a clear set of guidelines to govern them. This was made possible by the recent official launch of the Complaint and Response Protocol on Domestic and Sexual Violence, which took place on November 28th at the Bird Rock Beach Hotel on St. Kitts. The policy educates key stakeholders in the healthcare, education, childcare, social support, legal and criminal justice system sectors, and provides guidelines for training on the appropriate procedures to follow when a crime of this nature materializes. It addresses first response procedures, best practices for law enforcement, emergency and medical services, social services, victim advocacy, and legal action. The Complaint and Response Protocol is funded by UN Women and the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO. Director of the Department of Gender Affairs, Celia Christopher, said that in 2017, the country recorded 353 cases of domestic violence. His Excellency Francisco J. Bernales, non-resident Chilean ambassador to St. Kitts and Nevis, paid a courtesy call on Honorable Alexis Jeffers, Deputy Premier of Nevis, at his Charlestown office on November 29th. The Deputy Premier represented Premier of Nevis and St. Kitts and Nevis's Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Mark Brantley, who was off island on government business. The ambassador's visit to Nevis comes one day after he presented His Excellency Sir Tapley Seaton, Governor General of St. Kitts and Nevis, with his credentials. He stated that his country and the Federation have a lot in common, and he is pleased with the active presence Chile has in St. Kitts and Nevis. Chile, which is located in southern South America, has a population of over 17 million people and was colonized by Spain, making the official language of that country Spanish. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, says it has received an application from Republic Financial Holdings seeking regulatory approval to acquire the Bank of Nova Scotia's operation and businesses here in St. Kitts and Nevis and the other member states of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, ECCU. It said the application was received on Tuesday, 27 November 2018. News broke on Monday, 26 November, that Scotiabank would be closing its branches and entered into agreement with Republic Financial Holdings Limited Group to take over its banking operations in St. Kitts and Nevis and 8 other non-core markets in the region. It says, pursuant to the Banking Act, the ECCB has commenced its review of this application. A release from the ECCB states that it has come to its attention that there is some speculation that Republic's acquisition of Scotiabank's operation in the ECCU could lead to the depletion of the foreign reserves that back the EC dollar. Such speculation is unfounded and unhelpful. It said the ECCB is clear and resolute about its mandate to protect the EC dollar and wishes to make it abundantly clear that it will continue to maintain very high levels of foreign reserves as it has done for the past 35 years. Finally, the Embassy of the Republic of China, Taiwan, is giving more assistance to the agriculture sector and is now helping farmers to get updated weather information to assist with their crop cultivation. On Friday, Taiwan's resident ambassador to the Federation, Tom Lee, handed over 4 weather stations to the Agriculture Ministry, 1 on Nevis and 3 on St. Kitts, which came at a cost of over $10,000. In St. Kitts, the stations were installed in Mansion, Boyds, and at the Eco Park, and on Nevis, the station is located at Cates Bay. The stations will provide data on rainfall amounts, precipitation, and temperature levels. Speaking at the handing over ceremony, Ambassador Lee explained that the changing climatic and weather patterns leave island nations such as Taiwan and St. Kitts and Nevis vulnerable to extreme weather. Therefore, it is important for the two countries to adapt to the changes. Related training has also been conducted in St. Kitts and Nevis by 3 experts from Taiwan, and our team is currently working on building a platform, and I have advised them that this platform must be user-friendly and also very easy for the farmers to use. That's it for the National News segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio and our Von Radio YouTube channel. News from across the region is next.
That's right. It's that time of the year once again where your bank, the Bank of Nevis Limited, is offering very low interest rate on brand new vehicles. But that's not all. We are offering a discounted bill of sale and your insurance payment will be covered. So visit us today or just dial 869-469-5564 and speak to our very experienced lenders. My bank, your bank, our bank. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook.
If you wanna go and take a ride with me, we three willing in the four with the goatees. So why do I live this way? Must be the money.
Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, and now the regional news in detail. In Guyana, former Housing and Works Minister Ifrayan Ali will reappear in court on January 7th next year after he was slapped with several charges related to conspiracy to defraud the Guyana government of more than Guyana $170 million in the sale of several parcels of land. When he appeared before Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan, Ali, a member of the last People's Progressive Party (PPP) administration, were to answer to 19 charges of conspiring with unknown persons to sell lands at East Coast Demerara for house lots of Guyana $39.8 million. The prosecution alleges that the lands were actually valued at a total of Guyana $212.4 million at the time they were being sold during the years 2010 and 2011. He was released on self-bail even after the prosecutor, Patrice Henry, said he would not oppose a significant cash bail. The Special Organized Crime Unit has been questioning a number of former government officials, including former President Mr. Jack Dio, in relation to the sale of the state lands under the last administration. Jamaican Dalton Harris has won British reality television music competition X Factor UK. The X Factor is a television music competition franchise created by British producer Simon Cowell and his company SYCO TV. He emerged victorious last night, December 2nd, after performing a duet, The Power of Love, with James Arthur in the finale at the Wembley Arena in London, walking away with US $1.3 million recording contract with Sony-owned Psycho Music. After being announced winner, the 24-year-old bent over with emotion before being congratulated by judge and mentor Louise Tomlinson, second-place winner Scarlett Lee, and her mentor Judge Simon Cowell, even as the audience screamed and applauded. This morning, in his first official television interview after winning the competition, Harris said the victory has not yet sunk in. Back in Jamaica, Harris, who won Digicel Rising Star in 2010, was congratulated by Prime Minister Andrew Holness and opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips on social media. Harris is the second Jamaican to win an international talent competition following Tessanne Chin's victory in The Voice in 2013. Finally, Limetree Bay Ventures has closed a $1.25 billion financing to restart its refinery located at Limetree Bay, St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. The company is undertaking the project in conjunction with the tolling supply and offtake agreements that it executed with BP Products North America earlier this month. The common equity in Limetree Bay is owned by affiliates of ArcLight Capital Partners, Freepoint Commodities, and a leading sovereign wealth fund. The closing of the financing provides the resources necessary to complete the refinery restart, said President of Limetree Bay Refining, Brian Lever. Daniel Rivers, managing partner and founder of ArcLight, added, "We are excited to continue building Limetree Bay into an environmentally compliant global energy hub in the U.S. Virgin Islands." The financing comprises $550 million of preferred equity and a $700 million term loan. That's it for our regional stories. Stay with us for news around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. The body of former U.S. President George H.W. Bush is to lie in state this week ahead of a day of national mourning. An arrival ceremony will be held for Bush Sr. this evening at the U.S. Capitol, and the public will be invited to pay their respects. Bush served as the 41st U.S. President between 1989 and 1993 and died late on Friday, November 30th. A funeral service will be held at a later date at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. The former president had been receiving treatment for a form of Parkinson's disease and had been admitted to hospital with a blood infection in April. He died aged 94 in Houston, Texas. The naturalist Sir David Attenborough has said climate change is humanity's greatest threat in thousands of years. The broadcaster said it could lead to the collapse of civilizations and the extinction of much of the natural world. He was speaking at the opening ceremony of the United Nations-sponsored climate talks in Poland. The meeting is the most critical on climate change since the 2015 Paris Agreement. Here is more in this report.
Sir David was greeted with warm applause by thousands of delegates here in Katowice, but his speech was uncomfortable and uncompromising. Climate change is an existential threat to humanity and to nature, he said. And the message he brought to the negotiators from people all around the world was simple: act now while there is still time. But progress in this forum will be difficult. Attendees must try to finish agreement on the rules for the Paris Agreement, but these highly technical discussions have not been easy. Then there's the shadow of President Trump, which has encouraged some countries to go slow on tackling climate change. Despite these hurdles, there's a sense of optimism that substantial steps can be taken during the next 2 weeks.
Finally, Beijing will reduce and remove the 40% tariffs it places on U.S. cars imported into China, U.S. President Donald Trump has said. China has declined to confirm President Trump's announcement, which he made on Twitter without providing details. The move, if confirmed, would be welcomed by a car industry unsettled by the escalating U.S.-China trade war. President Trump and Xi Jinping have now agreed to a temporary truce in the bitter dispute. That brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next. Welcome back, and now the sports in detail. West Indies batsman Chris Gayle has been awarded £173,000 in damages more than a year after winning a defamation case against Australian publisher Fairfax Media. Articles published in the Sydney Morning Herald, The Age and the Canberra Times reportedly alleged that the 39-year-old had exposed himself to the massage therapist Leanne Russell. A jury in Sydney in October 2017 ruled the claims were not true and that their publication by Fairfax Media was motivated by malice. Gayle's legal team argued that Fairfax journalists wanted to destroy the cricketer. New South Wales Supreme Court Justice Lucy McCollum made the award. She said in her decision that the defamation went to the heart of Mr. Gayle's professional life as a respected batsman and had particular renaissance in cricketing circles. Nearly 5 months after being beaten 2-0 in a pace-dominated series in the West Indies, Bangladesh served up revenge on a spinning platter to the same opponents with an innings and 184-run win in the Dhaka Test on Sunday to complete a 2-0 series win. The victory was their first innings win in Test cricket. Mehdi Hassan Miraz underscored the supremacy of spinners with his match figures of 12 for 117, surpassing his own record for the best bowling figures for Bangladesh. Mehdi took 9 wickets on the third day, the most by a Bangladesh bowler on a single day, and all 40 West Indies wickets fell to the Bangladesh spinners, a first for the bowling side in a 2-test series. Scores: Bangladesh 508, West Indies 111 and 213. That's it for the sports segment. The general weather forecast is next. Welcome back, and now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight: partly cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of showers. Winds east-northeast at 19 to 30 kilometers per hour or 10 to 16 knots with higher gusts over coastal waters. Seas a combination of swells and wind-driven waves with significant wave heights reaching 1.8 to 2.4 meters or 6 to 8 feet. A small craft advisory remains in effect, while sea bathers should continue to exercise caution, particularly along the northern and eastern coastal areas. Sunrise tomorrow is at 6:26 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Monday, 3rd December 2018. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis averaging 14 new HIV infections per year for the past 3 years. And Budget Day on Nevis set for December 5th. Regionally, former minister to reappear in court on fraud charges. Internationally, George H.W. Bush to lie in state in the U.S. Capitol. And in sports, Chris Gayle awarded £173,000 in damages in defamation case. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tammy Reed, wishing you a pleasant evening.